And so I'm trying to give people shortcuts to getting around the anger I went through when I thought that I was this victim of this faceless system that just wanted to kill me and suck the life out of me and deprive me of all my rights and freedoms. So anger, fear, all that kind of stuff, you can't come at it from that standpoint. And everybody will probably notice in any videos, any radio interviews I've ever done, if there's one thing I am against, it's against protesting and against anger and violent actions where you're speaking out and you're committing violent acts of aggression out of your frustration. And that's why people have to look in the mirror first and realize, no, I'm doing all these things because I'm frustrated. The problem is actually with me. I don't have any rights because I didn't learn them. And I'm acting out now because I don't want to take the time to sit down for 5 minutes and learn something, so I'm just going to go to a protest and blame everybody else for my problems. Okay? Once again, if there's a problem in your life, who's your biggest enemy? You. And then who's going to save you? You. So I think people are starting to get that now. It's amusing. I used to start every conference with the highest maxim of law: do no harm. That was number one. Do no harm. We'd start every little seminar I did, every little conference, a little meeting at 5 people in my office. I get up and I'd say, okay, first of all, do no harm. After 5 years of doing that, I'm a terrorist in the media. Like, do you guys even watch the videos? Like, you don't have to watch for more than 30 seconds. That's the first thing I say. How could I? Oh, okay. So I get frustrated. Yeah, I get very passionate about this stuff, but it just defies logic where this stuff comes from. I mean, I can understand why certain people get pissed off about this in the government, because my dad got mad at me the first time I told him to go to hell too. Right? You're my son. You do it. I tell you, go to hell. You're out of my house. Fine. Done. You know, that's a contract. I'm out. See you later. We get along great now. But yeah, he was pissed off the first time I stopped doing everything he told me to do. That's a growing process. So the first time you tell them, go to hell, it's my life, I'm going to live it the way I want to live as long as I cause no harm, and I'm a good person, I'm doing good things, then piss off. Well, if you were my slave, I'd be mad too. Well, fuck, I got to do my own laundry now. Right? And that's what's going on. They're getting a free ride off us. And of course they're going to be mad when that's gone. They got to start doing their own laundry and their dishes and cooking. So, let's start with some definitions, and we'll see what we think of certain ruling families. But I just shot all these out of my Black's Law Fourth I picked up the other week there. And, okay, most people talk about royalty. Oh, well, the royal family, you know, royalty or elites, something like that. And again, what's in a word? What is royalty? We think that the royalty is the leading class of persons on this planet. And actually, that's accurate, but not for the reasons you guys think it is. When people say royalty, oh, well, that person's royalty. Okay. Royalty is a payment reserved by the grantor of a patent, lease of a mine, or a similar right and payable proportionally to the use made of the right by the grantee. Leave out all the blurb. There's 2 words in there that should stand out to people right away for anybody that studied trust law. Grantor, grantee. And what did that definition convey? It's a right reserved by the grantor, transferred by way of privilege to the grantee. So when you refer to somebody like in the royal family as royalty, why are they royalty? They're claiming to be the grantor and that we're using a privilege that they had the authority to grant us. That's all that means. It's just a word. So they prance around, put little crowns on. They have no more authority on this planet than I do. But if they can trick us into thinking we're something less than them, then they do have something that they can grant us. Okay? That's perception. That's all that is. It's just perception. That, and they've accumulated vast amounts of wealth over the centuries by kidnapping and killing people and dealing drugs and committing wars and everything else. So, yeah, they got more resources than we do. But really, even then, No, I've heard people say, well, you know, the royal family is the wealthiest landowner in the world. They're not. They're the wealthiest landholder in the world. Whose land are they holding? Ours. Flip the script. What did I say earlier today? Always flip these things around. They're the landholders. They're holding it. They're holding our land in trust. Where does that place us? We were the grantor. They're the grantee. They're holding something of ours. Kind of shits on the whole notion of royalty and power, eh? They put themselves in a position where they're subservient to us, and then did everything in their power to make us not believe who we are. As make believe, to make us not believe. So it's all make believe. It really is. It's actually shocking. So actually, I'm just going to make sure that's where we're going here. Okay. Yeah, we'll stick with that. So that's all royalty is. Okay. And then again, property. People have a misconception of what property is. Again, don't take my word for it. I mean, that's a simple definition. Anybody can look that up in Black's Law Dictionary. It's not in a statute. That's what the actual word means. Not my opinion. Property. That which is peculiar or proper to any person. That which belongs exclusively to one. In the strict legal sense, an aggregate of rights which are guaranteed and protected by the government. Yeah, we can get into that. The term is said to extend to every species of valuable right and interest. We don't really need to get much beyond that to start painting in more holes in the picture here. So, if it is and extends to every species of valuable right and interest, now we know that I'm equal to everybody else. I have equal rights. And those rights are my property. Okay? That's what it says right there. Extend to every species of valuable right and interest. What's a right I have? That's an interest I have in this body especially. Okay? Because this body is my property as well. I own it. And we're going to get into ownership. And people, again, have to get beyond this belief that when you own something, that you own it, like it's mine. And we know that all ownership is right of use. That's all it is. It's a special interest in something. A right of use, that's it. The only entity that owns this is he who created it. I don't know who created the pen, but I mean the matter that makes up this pen. And these are foundation principles of law, and they're so important, and people skip past this, and they want to get right to the statute they have to recite, because they don't want to understand what these actual core concepts are. Okay? You own your body. Let me think of it better. Do you have exclusive right of use of your body? Yes? I would argue to the contrary. Do you have exclusive right of use to your own home? Exclusive right of use basically means that it is yours and nobody else's will can be exerted against it. We don't own our bodies. Mother Nature takes its toll. Andrew can attest to that. Apparently I've aged 10 years in the last year. I now have gray hairs. I can't prevent that. My will does not prevent my body from aging and breaking down. So I don't have absolute will, control of will over my body. My house, I can maintain it as much as I want. What does nature do to my house in the end? Breaks it down. There's nothing left of my home. If somebody didn't maintain it, 20 years from now, it'd probably just be a pile of shit rotting in the middle of a yard somewhere. Okay? These are all very, very important concepts that people should start being very precise in what they say and understanding the proper use of words. Okay? My people suffer for a lack of knowledge, and true knowledge begins calling things by their proper names. So you want to be precise. I don't care what definition you use, just make sure you define what it is that you mean. You're expressing something, you're conveying a meaning, a substance. Okay. So, your rights are property. That's very, very important to understand. Very important to understand. Because then we can just keep following a trail here. So rights are unalienable. Unalienable means that, again, I am as the God of nature intended. I'm whole and complete in this form with my rights attached. Unalienable. Unalienable means that they cannot be removed from you without altering what you are. Okay, they're unalienable. Trying to strip me of an unalienable right or deny me an unalienable right harms me. It diminishes me. It caused me to be less than you were before it was removed. So the act of removing it actually harms you. Your rights are yours, no different than an arm or a leg. They're a part of you. They're indistinguishable, whether they're physical or not. It's still something you possess. It is your property. And no one has any right to it but you. And that harms you if that has been denied to you. Because, again, who has the authority to deny that to you? But, well, we're only talking about rights right now, so that'd be your creator, the God of nature. He's the only one that can do that. Otherwise, man really would pass the Anti-Gravity Act. So, the act of removing it harms you, causes an injury, which is a loss. That loss is a cause of action. And that's very important, because when people want to start going back for remedy and recourse here right away, and we're going to get more involved into this too, properly stating a cause of action in a concise manner, so you can paint a picture for the person that you're trying to make them understand or arrive at the conclusion of that you were injured, is incredibly important. I've seen people causes of actions before, and I'm left there going, holy shit. Like, you haven't told me anything. There's no, you don't even state how this even injured you. Like, why did it injure you? You have to be able to succinctly walk somebody through a picture, a story that tells the person reading it exactly who you are, what you have the right to do, and what action was done against you, and how that harmed you. All the components have to be there for a proper cause of action, right? Kind of. But let's just stick with that. I prefer that people do things properly. Again, I've had framers tell me, well, that header kind of works. Kind of meets code. Well, yeah, it might get you by, but you're going to be ripping it apart and redoing it because I do things properly around here. Okay, so that's property. Your Creator conferred upon you rights that are your property for your exclusive use. Now, those rights are yours for your exclusive use. Okay? Again, most of this stuff, you guys know this from watching videos. We're covering a little bit more, into it this time. And we're going somewhere with this. But because all of these things cannot be denied to you without that party causing you harm and you having a cause of action, they had to figure out a way to get around all of that and not just come right out and enslave you the way they used to, 100 years ago. So there's a new form of slavery. It's word slavery, mind slavery. If they can convince you of certain truths, then they haven't harmed you because you did it to yourself. Now,